he's
Welcome to the Blue White Players Show presented by
okay.
Ciocca Dealerships. I'm Aeneas Hawkins, joined as always by the legendary Keith Goon Conlon.
Getting better and better, baby. I'm
Come
getting
on
better and
now.
better.
I'm learning new adjectives to use when I say your name. And, of course, my guy, superstar Hakeem Beamon in the house today. Hakeem, thank you for being here with us, man.
What up, big dog, man? What up, man?
What up, bro?
Well, big dog, and then we don't know a little.
Oh, my fault, my
Come
fault.
on,
Little kitty cat over here.
I'm making a comeback
man.
at quarter,
baby.
man.
Chill, man.
Keem, obviously, you've been playing a lot of big-time football for a long time. You've been a guy who's been looked to take a lot of reps in that defensive tackle room. This year, you have clearly taken big leaps and bounds, both physically and mentally as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Talk me through a little bit of the beginning of the 2023 season. What's allowed you to find some success?
Well, man, I ain't gonna lie. I just finally got some routines with myself, man. Sleeping right, eating right, eating a lot of meals. I eat like 6,000 calories a day. Work out a lot.
Play.
Yeah, man.
I drink that in a week.
Nah, man. I just say like the biggest thing that changed with me, man. I just been consistent, and it's been paying out.
How many times you've been told your whole life that you need to do that more, right? I'm not trying to break your chops here, but it's like it's something clicks in you, and it's like, damn, they're right, it works.
Yeah, it took a little while, but it's on God's time and not mine. So you know what I mean? Yeah,
I like that. I think there's a lot of players, a lot of young players, especially who come into Penn State or any school for that matter, that don't have any type of routine. They don't know how to be consistent. It's easy as a high school guy.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a routine. You're better. You're more talented than everybody, whether you have a routine or not. So I guess my question to you is, understanding that the first couple of years you had those conversations. Hakeem, you put some weight on. You're going to be a special player. What was it that clicked in you finally that was like, you know what, it's time to go?
Well, I just actually gave it a shot one time. Over the course of the summer, I gained weight. I think my high was probably like 287. And I was playing really good, and it was just like, yo, I'm moving guys because I'm actually bigger and I'm actually stronger now. And it's like I still got my quickness and everything. So it was just like I actually gave it a try, and it worked out for me.
Body comp goes down, everything goes up. It's great, right?
Yeah.
It's a fantastic feeling. You're like, man, everybody's right. So that's the biggest thing I got to say from back when I was playing the way you guys have. My high school, we didn't have a lifting program. We didn't have a running program. It was like you showed up in August ready to go, and if you guys lifted throughout the summer, go ahead. That's fine. That's great. And then nowadays, you guys are, even in the high school level, you are monitored and stuff like that. And that's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That it's finally happening. Stuff that we probably would have laughed at. But again, somebody was telling you 6 years ago, do all this stuff, study, do your homework, don't go to bed late, eat right, and this and that. You're like, I'm all right, I'm good in this and that. Just what Aeneas said. We were so much bigger and stronger than everybody in high school. We just throw everybody around. You didn't know how to play the game. Then you get up here and you're the small guy getting thrown around.
It's not even just that. You just get old, and the older you get, it needs like, your body just start working. Man, you got to take care of your body. Sleeping, eating right. You just got to be consistent with the little things for real.
You have to.
He hurt his neck doing an interview.
Yeah,
bro. I'm a chiropractor right now because he says the earpieces are too big on his head. He said.
For those of you who don't know, right before this, I was in the last football building getting my neck readjusted by the chiropractor. So I think it's unbelievable that a few years after playing football, I still feel like I'm playing football with these injuries. But that's neither here nor there. And
talk about it.
To your point, I think it's interesting. I've said this to a lot of people, and it's really cool to see on Saturdays it finally coming into fruition and people being able to see the results of it. But I told people, if I was 250 pounds and was not losing any one-on-one reps in practice, Hakeem Beamon played defensive tackle, 30, 40 pounds underweight, and was the singular most dominant pass rusher I've seen at D-tackle in my time at Penn State. And when you're having all that success, it probably makes it tough to want to change that routine.
Yeah, most definitely. I was just afraid to change. You feel me? Like, I was just young at the time, and like I said, man, you just gotta
all grow up.
Yeah. Like, we all just grow up at the end of the day. So
I've been watching you for 2 years since him over there saying he's the best player in this team right now. And that's the truth. I'm not lying to you.
Listen, I will say, when all is said and done and Hakeem Beamon hears his name called at the NFL draft and you go find the success, I will pound my fist on the table and say, I said it first. I was the one that told you.
Man.
Anyway, let's get into Northwestern. 7 sacks.
Sheesh.
I think it was like 16 TF. It was crazy numbers that you guys were able to put up front. You guys have been doing it all year. We saw flashes of it last year towards the end of the season, especially as a leader of that group. What has it taken to take that next step and be a group that week in and week out is causing problems for opposing offenses?
just taking every day, like treating every day like game day, taking no reps off. Like Kobe said in his share, we just got to empty the tank every day and just get used to that for real.
Offensively, you're playing against that interior O-line every day.
Mm-hmm.
Have had to make some changes with Landon Tangwall being forced to retire. Mm-hmm. Guys like Vegas stepping up. JB Nelson, yes. What have you? Okay, so JB clearly got you excited. What have you seen from him as a young player early?
So you remember Dez, right?
I remember Dez as well.
Imagine the Dez punch with Dez punch with Juice Shrug's feet.
That's a
The
problem.
guy is tough. He got that dog mentality. He's always trying to finish you, run or pass. Like he's great competition to go up against. And
every day.
Yeah, I'm glad I had to go against him every day. Like he get me right every day.
Makes it right. So I want to go back to Saturday, and I was talking to my radio show last week. Somebody was like, what are they talking about this 11 a.m. start? And I said, it's not really the 11 a.m. start because your body doesn't. It says 11 o'clock, but on your watch, or on your phone, but it's not 11 o'clock in the morning for you because you've only been there for 15, 16 hours. I said the problem is you go from playing 110,000 people, absolutely out of their mind, craziness the week before, and then 6 days later you run out in the field at a Northwestern, and there's 86 people there.
Yeah.
You hear mom yelling at you. And I had never heard my mom yell at me before, but she's up there screaming. It's hard to get up for that.
I mean, but at the end of the day, like the coach always say, it's not about them. It's always about us, and just trying to be.
You guys jacked up though.
I mean, we're self-motivated. Like, we don't need no crowd. We love the crowd, but like we don't need them. We just need an opponent to dress up and play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have Ohio State and Michigan at the same time. I don't think there's a problem getting too hyped up for that. That was my answer to that. Yeah. My answer was like, it's the team that's that you're worried about. I mean, it's tough getting up for that type of game, but you don't need any kind of false or exterior kind of hype to get fired up for Ohio State and Michigan. You're at Northwestern, 25,000 people in the crowd, tops. They said 40-something, but there was no way in hell there was that many people there. This is tough to get up, and I'm just trying to explain to people how it is, and then it is up to the team to get motivated and get all jacked up into that game. Then you have the opening kick. You fumble it.
Yeah.
You guys are right on your backs against the wall, right first play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You held them back.
Sure, that's how we like it though. Like Coach said, we love to be needed, and in that moment we was needed, and we held it to a 3.
Time to step up, right?
Mm-hmm. What type of mentality does it take? I for the people who don't know, we call that sudden change. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Manny calls it that, but Coach Pry every Friday at the walkthrough would call us up. He would scream sudden change out. Mm-hmm. He would talk about the mentality and what it means to go out there when the team's back is against the wall and you're the last hope. And there may be only 5-10 yards until they cross into that end zone. Mm-hmm. When you run out onto that field in those situations, what's going through your mind?
Shoot, our back against the wall. We got to do hard things consistently and just do our job. Like, it's not really hard. Like, just do your 111.
Right. That's how you know you're talented when you're saying it's not really that hard in Big Ten to stop scholarship athletes from getting 70 yards. That's a blessing that you could even say that out loud.
I mean, but like we don't do it like we got teammates for this. So like it's 11 on. Essentially when we play defense, it's 11-on-1. So it's easy for us.
On the outside looking in, being a part of some of those defenses you talked about back before the defense has become what it is now. Mm-hmm. There were still some guys who maybe would play for themselves and maybe they would jump out of a gap and they wouldn't be as sound as they needed to be. When I look at the defense now, you guys are playing together. You're all playing fast and physical.
Selfless.
It's selfless football. How important has Manny Diaz been in instilling that type of culture?
I ain't gonna lie. Manny Diaz is the GOAT, man. It's just like his philosophies, the way he thinks, the way he approaches things, the way he breaks things down to us. He always make everything simple for us. And that's part of the reason why we play very fast and physical, for real.
It's fantastic to hear you guys. That much love and respect for your D coordinator.
Yeah, like most def. You
guys are talking about it, and that's awesome stuff. So, and that's when you can't be beat.
Mm-hmm.
But you go out there, I'm playing for the guys next to me right there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the easiest thing to fight for, type of thing. So, you good?
Yeah, no, one thing I wanted to ask, though, real quick. I don't want to get too far away from the Northwestern game. We talk about, not having the crowd and being a group that's internally motivated rather than externally motivated. I think it's easier to do that when you're playing for a set of goals that are so lofty that you got to be near perfect to get to where you want to go. And I think sometimes previous teams had that thought, hey, we want to go win the Big Ten. We want to go win a national championship.
Correct.
And it wasn't always attainable with the depth on the roster. You guys have that now. Those goals have been raised and the standard is higher. Do you feel that every day when you're in that Lash building?
Oh, yeah. And Dion let us know, like, the competition is always high. The intensity is always high. You can ask KJ, man, like, our practice has been great lately. Like, the start of from start to finish, it's been perfect. It's been starting fast, physical.
No mistakes.
Yeah, like people, we laying people out. Like it's been great lately. But then again, it's all part of the process. Like we right back at the bottom of the hill. We got to keep climbing.
Yep. Yeah. And then the only thing you have to worry about when your goals are national championships, you still got to have the Big Ten in the way there, or maybe winning the East, maybe win the Big Ten, maybe win the national title, because you don't want guys leaving. If you lose 1 or 2 games, you don't want them straying away. Like, because I've been on a team, and Aeneas has been on a team like that.
Yep.
And that sucks, man.
Yeah.
When there's like when they don't attain that goal and they just check out. You see that live as a younger person. You remember that type of thing.
You're talking about
whoa, I ain't throwing no names.
I was about to say.
Nah. But at the end of the day, everybody's situation is different. You just gotta respect it and just move forward. Next guy up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You got to have enough leadership on the team. So if it doesn't happen, we are still playing. You are still going out there and playing tough, playing for each other. You just don't want guys checking out.
Yeah,
because that's when it gets really bad, and you don't like being part of that team. It leaves
right.
a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it does.
That happened a couple of years ago. Look what's happening now.
No doubt about it.
And I'm telling you that when that type of stuff happens, the leadership that comes from within, from the younger cats who've seen it live and say this is not going to happen to us, that is huge. Well, that's where you're at right now.
One of the viral clips from the 2020 season is a young Hakeem Beamon at the end of that Indiana game that we lost.
Oh, yeah.
Losing his mind on the sideline. He's a young guy. He goes through that experience. The rest of that season didn't go well. Losses started stacking on top of each other.
Yeah.
There was a culture issue. We adjusted. We grew. And you went through that. And now
I don't know why you burned that season up.
That
season was depressing. Right? Yeah. That season was
a motivating
factor.
No doubt.
Quarterback in Washington.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah. You guys may see that Mike Penix kid again one day.
When I say that.
What's that?
Penix from Washington. That was the Indiana quarterback with the 2-point play.
That kid.
For real?
Yeah. He didn't know.
You didn't even know.
He was a true freshman out there for Indiana.
Yeah,
he went to Washington 2 years ago, and he's been lighting it up.
He's been consistent.
It was out of bounds, by the way, but that's neither here nor there, man. That's neither here nor there, man.
Yeah, it's neither here nor there.
Shoot, man.
Last thing I want to ask you about real quick, because I know sometimes there's a misconception that bye weeks and off weeks are not the same thing. Especially under Coach Franklin. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys are continuing to prepare during this bye week.
Shoot, like I said, we just got to continue to bring the juice. Stay the course for it's not hard. We just got to continue to get better.
Now, you guys still practice? Do you lift?
Oh yeah. Everything the same. Nothing changed.
You guys have like a younger cat practice, or the older cats?
No.
Get some time off.
D-Squad Super Bowls.
Absolutely, man. The old man used to have us out there beating the hell out of each other. Like, dude.
Yeah.
We got to play football in a while though, but it's good.
Yeah, we got a couple ones. We got a couple scrimmages coming up.
See, Hakeem Beamon did not spend much time on that scout team, so he doesn't know how ugly it gets during the bye week. No, don't start with me, because the bye week. Don't start with me. Hakeem Beamon. He was listen.
That's crazy.
He was on the scout team for like 11 days.
Pumping you up over
No, listen, I'm just telling you. So listen, he spent 11 days on the scout team. He didn't really go through it. I spent 4 years. 4 years of bye weeks. Everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not me.
Whoa.
Yeah. I went through it. It was only like 3 months, but you feel me?
That makes you tougher, though.
Whatever, man. I don't want to hear it.
Kicked out of you constantly. You learn.
Yeah, I definitely learned.
Damn right.
Yeah, I learned after Bryce Hefner pancaked me, but
Bryce Hefner got a hold of you.
Yeah.
Shout out Bryce Hefner, by the way, doing real well in the business world now in Chicago. Anyway, we got to go to break. Stay tuned. We're bringing on the man, KJ Winston. Hakeem, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back on the Blue White Player Show, presented by Ciocca Dealerships.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Penn State fans, it's game time, and Ciocca is hitting the field with 42 dealerships and 25 brands in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. That means more choices and the perfect new or pre-owned vehicle priced to fit your budget. Plus, factory-trained service experts are just minutes away, and you can feel confident you're doing business with a family that treats you like family. We're a proud partner of Penn State Athletics and preferred dealership group of the Penn State Alumni Association. The Ciocca Dealerships. Experience the difference.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? Want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, Dad! Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Welcome back to the Blue White Players Show, presented by our friends over at Ciocca Dealerships. We got a really special guest on right now, the Mathis finest. KJ, how are you feeling today, brother?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Doing real well, man. It's an honor to have you here. I'm
glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
We gonna allow this with the OG in the house?
I guess we. Why don't you do the honors? Do the honors.
The original DeMatha Catholic.
No doubt about
it.
it.
In the house.
No doubt. Watching this young guy do his thing, man. He looks like a proud dad over there, man. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Look at him.
As he should. The Matha guys rolling together, man.
We got Rogers Alexander on here later to end the show up today. We have a live Letterman segment this week, baby.
I can't wait to have Rogers Alexander on because he is an unsung hero and the reason I graduated from Penn State University. Rogers would keep me in check as I swiped in and out of the Morgan Center doing my homework. That's my guy.
Same thing.
No doubt, man. Anyway, KJ, you are a guy that I've had a lot of respect for from a distance. We didn't get the chance to play together. You came in after me. But anytime there's a young guy who comes in and is able to earn playing time early, you've started 4 games this year, 5 games this year, whatever it may have been, in a loaded safety room, a bunch of talent, Keaton Ellis, Zaki, Jay Reed. You found a way to play significant snaps as a young person. What has it taken to find that success early on?
Honestly, just creating those habits when I first came in, surrounding myself by guys that I desire to be like and have success like them. So a special guy I give a shout out to is Jair Brown. The day I got here, I was lined up next to him. It was summer at the time, doing sprints, lined up right next to him. Now I was like, I'm going to be next to you in every drill we do, everything we do.
Right. I'm
going to take everything from you. So mainly just that. And from the moment I came in, I was creating those habits and taking habits from other guys. So
I really think that's what put me in a position now to feel a lot more comfortable coming into my second year with it. So just creating those habits in everything I do, and that's what allowed me to.
It's amazing. You get a culture that's built up, and it's all geared towards the right thing. Instead of guys worried about themselves, you have guys who are selfless going out there and doing it for a team and their boys. Sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best teams you got right there. I mean, you're going to have bad days. There are going to be bad days. That first half you guys played there, not you guys, but offensively was a bad day. Yeah. You know, the ball's running around, rolling all over the place, but you still came back. Defense held it in. And then you're going to have the offense going to win a couple games for you this year, and you're going to be thanking them. It's all a team game. It's the ultimate team game. Yeah. And it starts with when you're a young kid looking up to the older guys, and they're showing you right.
Yeah. And that's a big
58 thing. When Rodgers was here. You know what I mean?
No doubt. No doubt.
No, but it is a culture. It is the norm that you expect. Yeah. And that's the great thing about it, you know?
I'm not surprised at all to hear that Jair Brown was a great leader. I mean, he had Brisker the year before him, and he was following him around, doing everything Brizzy was doing. Then Jair Brown was the same guy that Brisker was a great player. What can you share about that relationship specifically that pushed you, that helped define you as who you are now?
You know, Tig was telling me all the wrong things not to do from the start. You know, what like how to go about things and things like that. And
instead of learning them the hard way, he was
telling me ahead of time.
And that's on and off the field.
Yeah, on and off the field. Yeah, and every aspect of life, he was telling me what not to do to put myself in a great position, like early. And then things like that. That's off the field. And when we talk about on the field, he was a genius with the game. He could read coverages in and out, read the offensive in and out, and that was the main thing. Like I was his roommate. You know, we traveled for games and even at home games. So I was always his roommate, and we would sit down and watch football together. And he would basically force me to sit there and watch it with him and tell him what the offense was going to do the next play. And I'm sitting there young, like I just reacted to the offense. He's telling me like this was going to happen and what to expect and things like that. So just becoming a student of the game, he kind of guided me in that direction. So there's a lot of things and everything.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes everything a lot easier.
It truly, truly does.
Yeah.
I think the smartest young guys are the ones who are able to humble themselves when they get out of high school, even though they may have had every offer in the world, may think they're the best things since sliced bread. Yeah. They get a vet like Jair Brown, a PJ Mustafa, a Hakeem Beamon now, who's an old guy all of a sudden. I don't know what happened. And then they're willing to go learn, and they find new habits.
We had a kid come in when I was coaching in 5, 6, 7. Tig reminds me of Alan Zmitis.
Yep.
Just the same type of guy who will take you behind the garbage and beat the crap out of you if he needs to, but he's also going to hug you when you need that kiss too.
Yeah.
Tough as hell, smart as hell, love the game of football, and handle it down to the younger cats.
Yeah.
Bless him, man.
Let's talk about another leader that you're around every day, a guy that every player in that program has a ton of respect for, Coach Poindexter, who was a heck of a safety himself, all-American guy. But as a coach, as a person, is a guy that'll check in on you both on and off the field, is going to make sure you're developing and that you have everything that you need. What is that relationship, man?
Yeah, I love Coach Dex, man. Really like a father figure to me. Also, like he made it a lot easier coming into the program. Like the first thing he told me the day I got on campus was, be yourself in everything you do. Like all I need you to do, even not in football, just come into the building, be yourself. But on the field, play your game. Don't try to be like, and this was exactly what he said. Don't try to be like Jaquan Brisker or be like Jair Brown or anybody else. Be KJ Winston. Be the best version of KJ Winston, and that's all I need you to do. And as a young guy, when you hear that, it makes you feel a lot more comfortable and allows you to go like do what you've been doing to get to this point of your life that you have been doing all your life. So when somebody tell you something like that, it makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, man. Yeah. That's a great attitude for a coach to have.
Yeah.
The guy who recruited me, Dick Anderson, man, he still busts my chops over here. He'll still call me over wrong. You look a little heavy there, Tiger. I'm 50, man. I'm overweight. I get it. He's still on me, though. He still follows me and still takes, that's a great, humbling. The guy recruited me to Penn State, coached me a little bit at Penn State, and you still talk to him. And it sounds like you got a relationship like that. It's great, man.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about, Coach Franklin always says when you're a recruit, when you come to Penn State, it's a 40-year decision. It's not a 4-year decision. Yeah. I think that's easy to say as a head coach, and it's harder to implement that with the staff that you hire because realistically, the guy that you're spending the most time with, they're the strength coaches and they're your position coaches.
Right, yeah.
So it doesn't matter if Coach Franklin says it's a 40-year relationship. If your position coach isn't living that way, if he's not creating that family environment, then it's hard to really create that type of space for your guys. One thing I want to ask you about, you've had a bunch of success this year. The defense as a unit has had a bunch of success this year. What do you feel like you're bringing to the table as an athlete to a defense that's loaded with talent?
Just somebody that's like, I'm going to push like as a room, everybody doing their job. Because, we're big on everybody does their job each game. You don't know how that's going to look each game. One game is going to be, the DBs are guarding their man so tightly that the D linemen have, 7 sacks and things like that, 7 TFLs. Or it's going to be, another game where the quarterback doesn't want to sit in the pocket and take those hits where he throws the ball deep and then it turns into interceptions. So it's just being happy for each other and being excited, even if you don't have any stats, being excited that, the D-line had 7 sacks and being excited for them and then vice versa. So that's been our big standard this year. And I think, that's a lot.
So I was talking last week going into the game. I talked it earlier with Hakeem about the whole getting jacked up for this game. And I said as a knowing going into a game that's going to be, not well attended, it's going to be a slow down game after the whiteout type of thing. So you have squad goals, then you have team goals, and you have your as an offensive lineman. I go out there and say, all right, we know we're going to win this game. Yeah. They're not that good. They should be on the same field as us, but we got to go out there, do our job, get in and get out. We would say as offensive line, 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing, and 0 sacks. And you geared yourself towards that. So you guys are sitting there saying, as a defensive backfield, you guys are hyping yourself up saying, okay, let's get 2 picks this week.
Yeah.
But as a defensive unit, obviously the goal is shutout every week. So you guys self-motivated like that, unit-wise, team-wise, all that stuff?
I really think Coach Manny has got us to the point where push unit as a unit, so coming out, it's just playing freely, going out and having fun. His big thing this year, even our first couple of games, he said he didn't feel like we were having enough fun.
Yeah.
So it was just, we need to have more fun. It's like going out playing. We work all week and do all the studying and things like that, preparing for the team. Yep. So Saturday should be the game, the time where we just go have fun and play it out and let it all out. So
you say you talked to the game with Tig, right? Watching games?
Yeah.
Do this for me. Next time you're watching a football game. When a quarterback gets sacked, how many of his offensive linemen are running over to help him up?
I'll tell you a lot.
It'll tell you a ton. And when your defensive line or a linebacker or one of you guys get a sack, how many of his teammates come over and celebrate with him?
Yeah.
That is a big – you could tell a team right then and there by just looking at that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a big thing, man.
It's funny you say that. Coach Manny gets on guys in film. He'll get on you if you're a guy gets a sack, even in practice. And, in practice, a lot of guys say, it's practice. It doesn't count. But he says even in practice, if a dude gets a sack and you're walking off to the other side, he's like, I don't like that. He's like, I want something to happen. We catch a pick. It should be everybody running to the guy to at least get a hand on his helmet, a hand on his, tap on him. So things like that. So, Coach Manny, you bring that up. That's what he pushes as well.
I love it, man. That's the easy way to play the game.
Goon, I'll tell you what, you've said it for weeks now. Even last year, you kept saying it. It's so apparent the culture at Penn State football is really, really healthy right now. Everybody is playing for each other. There's a common goal. It's a blessing to see, and it sounds like something that's really simple and that every football team should do, but it's rare to find at the college level, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of young athletes who, again, have had all the success in the world and everybody's going to the NFL and blah, blah, blah. To get them to put themselves aside and play for a bigger purpose and a bigger cause is impressive. It's not easily done. Let's take it back now. We got Rogers Alexander here.
Ooh.
Listen, I'm tired of hearing about DMV football. And that's just me being honest with you. These high school guys from, DeMatha, McDonough.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's everybody.
It's unbelievable.
Nothing could compete with Maryland football. Talk to me about your days at DeMatha. Obviously, a pipeline here at Penn State. Golden Achumba here now. Shane Simmons, a guy that I played with. What was your DeMatha experience like, and how did it shape you before Penn State?
Honestly, it's the same way. I played under, Elijah Brooks for my first year, but then I had, Coach McGregor, an older style coach, and he was pretty much pushing the same things as Franklin does now. Learn things like that. And, it's just when you go through that, you go from you start early with that kind of stuff. It allows you to come into college and feel like be already ready. And I feel like that's another reason why I was able to come in and kind of be a mature young guy. And that was my big thing. And that's how Coach McGregor coached me. Even though I was one of the top players in practice, he wasn't going to let me take out reps. He wasn't going to let me sit out reps. And I was going to do everything.
Probably rode you harder.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
He pushed me harder. He didn't allow me to feel, comfortable or think I was that big guy or anything. And that's another thing my father did too. But, when you're in high school, your parents aren't always around. But when you have people like that at your practices, at your high school, at a young age, allowing you to stay humble and stay true to yourself and things like that. So they just allowed me to keep my head forward and keep working and try to improve every day.
When we get the OG Rogers on here, he'll tell a story about my mom. That's the one who kept us all in line. Ain't no doubt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, your father, the coach is nothing more than a father type of figure, this and that. We're a mother type, a parental type of figure. They're not going to let you get too high, but they're never going to let you get too low. That's mommy and daddy's love for you right there. And a great coach will be the same way. He wants you right about mid-level. once you're hungry enough to get to attain the high level, but not get too low, that you start affecting your play.
Yeah. I don't want to get too far from the weeds here, but I feel like one thing I've noticed with pretty much any high-level college athlete, regardless of sport, is at some point as a child, at some point you had a realization that you were gifted and you had a chance to go take it to a higher level. And there's a decision that gets made from a young age where you're going to make a push to go try to do and accomplish all these amazing things in sports. Do you remember your moment as a child, as a young man, where you were like, you know what, I'm KJ Winston, I'm really good at cover 2?
Yeah, it was really early for me, actually. I was probably 8 years old, and the year before, it was my first year playing football, contact. I was a little soft.
Okay.
Like the first day, I'm getting hit, and I'm not really liking it. First year, I'm kind of soft. Then I came out that next year, and then it's like a switch had happened. Like I'm running real fast, making juke moves. Then I'm hitting guys, very physical. And then I think that's really when at that point I felt like I could do this. This is a sport for me. And then from then on, it's just something was a part of my life every day. And it became the norm for me. Like, and if I wasn't playing football, it just felt a little odd, in off season, if I was just sitting around, it felt odd. So actually, I feel like football was a big thing to me, and it was something important to me and kind of tied to me. So I think that's really when it was.
I think it's funny because sometimes you would assume that a guy that plays at Penn State or a big school like that, just from the jump, is a great football player. And that is just not how it works. The first time I got the football handed to me in the 5th grade, the mouthpiece, I got hit so hard, went down my throat. I started crying. I get in the car. My dad, a 10-year NFL vet, is like, listen, man, like, you better figure it out fast, because we're not going to do this much longer. But that's how it is for a lot of guys. Football is a tough sport to learn for anybody.
I love the daddy story when you sat Clifford and you strutted off the field.
Yeah.
What did he do to you?
So Sean Clifford, I played against him in high school. He was my rival school, whatever. I sack him on a 4th down. And I get up, and the dad, remember when people were dabbing? The Cam Newton made it popular, so I hit one of those. Okay, he was like 6 years old. Anyway, I hit that, get back home, think my dad's going to be excited with me. Immediately get punched in the chest. Immediately, boom. That was the last time I celebrated after a play. Yeah. So shout out Artrell Hawkins.
It's not how we do it, he said.
That's not how we operate. Man. Operate with some class.
So, we're after the NFL. We're all going to the NFL. Where are you at 10, 15 years from now? What's the goal?
Honestly, just I want to do something to give back to, like, where I came from, and primarily kids. I like to give back to kids. I was once one of them, and seeing guys like at the college level at that point, I looked up to them like they were like superheroes.
Sure, absolutely,
and things like that. And it just getting a handshake from them made me feel like much better that day. Probably like to this day, things like that mean a lot to me. So it's just being able to get involved with kids and things like that, as little as just being there, being able to talk to them at a playground camp event, doing things like that. So if I could do a lot of those kind of things, I think that would like that. I think that bring a lot of happiness to me 10 to 15 years ago.
Man. So a lot of you guys that you grew up with go to the Matha?
Yeah.
You guys feeder school type of thing?
Well, a lot of guys, it's a lot of different
schools.
I mean,
you're just like my high school. It's all over the place.
It's all over. But a majority, I have a lot of guys I grew up with and went to the Matha with.
Yeah, so you got the Matha, go back into a camp or something like that, because you got to love giving back to the next crew, and they remember that. Yeah. I was telling Aeneas a story about Marco with J-Lo back in the day. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that.
That's the ultimate. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I did pretty good here, huh?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well now.
We've been asking guys about the NIL and how has it affected you. So you're a guy who's come in right when it started. So you, from day one, have had the NIL possibilities. Yeah. And how has that affected you? Good, bad? I mean, I can't imagine anything being bad about it, but what have you done? Have you done anything special?
I think it's been good, different reasons than other guys, like a lot of guys would say, being able to, and a lot of guys would say this as well. And it wasn't like this when it first started, when NIL just started happening, things were still, it was just a beginning. It was still getting, building on. And I say for now, being able to see my family, they're allowed to come to games and stay with certain families and be able to, actually see them after the game and spend time with them. Your first year as a freshman, we didn't have that in place just then. And it was hard, being away from your family all that time, and then seeing them at a game. It's like, oh, hey, and then goodbye after the game. And they're heading down the road to go back home. But now, where I can, right after the game, they can stay over. I can
get the hotel room for them type of thing.
Yeah, I can go spend time with them at the house and things like that, and enjoy time with them. And that's a big thing, seeing my family, and it makes the whole process a lot easier. And with the money side of it, my big thing was just learn how to manage my money. Yep. you know, when you start getting this load of money as a young guy, you know, when I first started getting money, it was kind of like I'm blowing it on this and doing that. And then the moment my dad found out, you know, it was, I was scared.
It's true.
So once he found out, he kind of got me in shape and things like that. So now I'm managing my money, saving my money.
Taxes.
You know, at Penn State, I was spending a lot of money on food at first. Dad talked to me like, if you're getting free food at the facility, why not eat it? Why go spend money? And
Dads are so right all the time.
I didn't see it like that at first.
Yeah, exactly. Until you realize, holy crap, he was right.
Yeah, little change like
You're
that.
so smart because you learned that early.
Yeah.
It takes some dudes like 25 years, 30 years. I got an older brother.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, how many people you got coming to the Maryland game? I mean, between the two of you got to have at least 50, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot. I don't even know right now, but it's gonna be so many people on that list that want to be.
Make sure you say, hey, tickets aren't free.
Yeah,
because they know you have some coin in your pocket. They're gonna be, well, you're making money. You're like, no, that's my money. I'm just telling you, just watch out. But it is funny when guys like if Hawk had a game in Cincinnati, how many people you would have had there?
Oh yeah, we'd have been half the section would have been. Yeah, I wouldn't have even been playing. They'd have just been there watching.
You guys remember Josh Gaines?
Yeah,
you remember Josh?
Yep.
We played in Indiana one year. There was it was like Northwestern. I think there was like 78 people in the crowd, and 76 were his family. They had a whole section, yelling and screaming. We're like, I get it's your people up there, Josh.
That is awesome. I think you bring up a great point though. The numbers back it up. 78% of NFL guys, they retire 3 years later, they got nothing. Yeah. They got nothing. To me, what that indicates is at some level, guys aren't understanding finances the right way. They're not being taught it, whatever it may be, but there was a problem there. So I think it's a great opportunity to be able to start making some decent money in college, learn how to deal with it the right way. And then also you talk about NIL and making an impact on kids. NIL is a great opportunity to do that. There's a bunch of guys doing camps. Nick Dawkins has his own foundation now. So it'll be exciting to see how you choose to utilize NIL to do some of that get back you're talking about. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man, very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Good luck the rest of the year.
Guys.
Appreciate you jumping on, man.
No
Best of luck to you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on the Blue White Players Show.
Ciocca Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Ciocca Toyota of Williamsport and see the Ciocca Dealerships difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Ciocca Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Ciocca Toyota, it just feels right.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? Want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, Dad! Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Welcome back to the Blue White Player Show presented by Ciocca Dealerships. We're joined by a man that's very near and dear to my heart today. A live segment here with the Letterman. This guy right here, the reason I graduated from Penn State, a DeMatha guy, proudly, as we have just found out off the air. Mr. Rogers Alexander, how are you doing today?
Doing wonderful.
It's great to have you here.
You didn't know he went to DeMatha?
No,
he didn't tell you?
Oh, no. Every time I swiped out of the academic center, just so you know, I'm a Maryland. I played for DeMatha. Most draft picks, most rings, any high school in the country. Talk about a little bit of the pride that you have in DeMatha and what it means to you.
Well, I think the pride originates from the priority that the school has with education first. And it happens consistently in every decade. There's situations that arise. A couple of years ago, we had one of the head basketball coach retire, and then there was an opening. And now Mike Jones
was about before or after.
Yeah, and then Mike Jones moved on, and then there was an opening. All these folks were telling, oh, this coach and that coach and this coach and that coach. And then, of course, we hired according to our policies, which are you are a teacher at DeMatha first. And then if you teach and you teach well, then you can apply to coach.
Ooh,
so
like that.
So I consider myself very lucky to be one of the few people that can say I've had a Hall of Fame coach in high school, in Morgan Wooten, in college, Joe Paterno, and in professional ranks, Raymond Berry, who were all Hall of Famers in their respective vocations.
That's unbelievable.
But all teachers.
Yes, but
and that's the important part. Is
and you
all
know the
teachers.
high school I went to. I went to LaSalle, very similar to DeMatha in that way, where it is about education, but it is about educating boys, turning to men. And you lead. You learn to lead when you go to LaSalle. So very similar. You went to a private school, right?
I did, actually. I didn't want to bring this up. And we'll get back to the education part after. But my high school, Archbishop Moeller, Archbishop Moeller High School.
You went to Moeller?
I went to Moeller.
I couldn't tell. You never told me this.
Undefeated against DeMatha.
Ooh.
Undefeated. I actually don't believe that DeMatha scored a point in that matchup. So technically, 0 points allowed against DeMatha. We're going to get the details.
Here? You guys all right? You get a little dive joke going
I'm
here?
only doing this in public. I don't want Rogers to put hands on me when these cameras turn off. We got a lot of witnesses here today. So we'll let that go. But seriously,
G would turn on you, baby. Wow.
No doubt he will.
He was smart enough to come to Penn State and not Notre Dame. So
there we go. He'll let us slide. We're even now. Anyway,
unlike the football coach at Notre Dame back in the day.
That's what I mean. Jerry Faust, Moeller.
Here we go. Shout out my guy Jerry Faust. I'm not gonna let that slide. My guy Coach Faust. Anyway, you talk about education at DeMatha. You're working in the Morgan Academic Center today. You were there the entirety of my career. Clearly, education is something that you put a huge emphasis on. A lot of guys talk about it, but they don't walk it. Where does that love and understanding that education is crucial come from?
I would say probably my military upbringing.
I'm tell you, Rogers had a father who
didn't play those games. Okay.
I mean, I heard the question that you had for Winston about, your young experience and why did you play, sports and this, that, and the other. My first 7 football coaches were a SEAL team that was home recouping for 18 months and needed something to do. So my father, having a position within the military, decided to start the baseball league and the football league, and he started it on the base. But it was more to give cover for the SEAL team so that they could be out recouping because we, as kids, as military kids, you never really ask questions. So when you see your coach, one's got a cast on his leg, and then he's also got a little cast on his forearm, and then the other coach has a cast, you never ask why all your coaches are hurt. But when you first start out playing football like we did, none of us had played organized football. So here there's like 40 kids we were between 7 and 10 years old. And all we did was drill. The parents loved it, of course, because one parent was a military parent. So all we did was PT, they call it, physical training. And our first year in the league, we did not score one touchdown the whole year. We got beat 40-something to nothing, 50-something to nothing, 30-something to nothing. But at the end of games, the coaches would come by and they would say, your kids, they play so hard and they just don't quit. And what they didn't understand is that was the backbone, of course, of your military upbringing, and the fact that it was passed down from your dad or your mom who was in the service, and that kind of stick-to-itness. I was very fortunate to go to DeMatha because my junior high school counselor found out that my mother was terminally ill, so that I would end up having her Social Security check. So he got me into taking the test for DeMatha, because you had to have an entrance exam and pass a test and have grades to enter DeMatha. So I sort of had a little bit of the pre-college experience, just transferring in from a public school into a private school like DeMatha. That was a blessing upon blessings, because not long after I was in high school did my mother pass away. And then the DeMatha moms became my moms.
Yeah.
I ended up going from house to house there, spending weekends, this, that, and the other, because my dad was still in the military, so to speak.
Active.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's education and has been the backbone everywhere. I've seen it from, my experiences being a brat in the military, having the good fortune to move around. At 4 months old, I was on a plane to Izmir, Turkey. And my first game that I learned how to play was soccer. My second game I learned how to play was hockey, because our second duty station when I was 5 was Goose Bay, Labrador, which is cold, about 2,000 miles away from the North Pole, where you have to hook your car battery up to an electrical cord to keep the battery from freezing at night, where there was snow on the ground 12 months of the year, not 11. August, you could sort of see the end of the pile for a couple of weeks, and you were like, man, maybe it'll really all melt. But it never happened.
Never quite does.
It never quite does.
Never quite does.
Yeah. So those experiences, though, are priceless.
And that's great. But you hand it down. That's what I love about you. That's what I love about Aeneas. I like about myself. We're trying to help these guys out as much as we can. You're doing a lot more on the ground training with these kids. You got study hall. You've seen and heard every excuse known to man.
Well, I wrote that.
You did write the book.
I am, and of course, when I came back 12 years after playing to finish my degree, I became the cautionary tale, the actual one that you could talk to, because I would tell you, I only had 4 credits when I left and got drafted by the Jets, and then went and didn't come back right away after I finished playing football in, New York, New England, then up in Canada.
You were my roommate for a week in Philly.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where I just wanted to make sure I found at least one guy that didn't have to do what I did, which has come back 12 years later when I had 4 credits when I left. I had 37 when I came back because the major changed colleges. We're not going to say that, the school was trying to get more money. But,
of course. Absolutely.
But
imagine that.
But yeah, imagine that. But in that, when I came back as an adult student, the folks in academics were like, Raj, put like spend time in study hall. And at that time, there were 3 different spots for study hall on campus. So I handled the old athletic department offices were turned into a study hall for everybody that was practicing in West Campus. So I had wrestling, volleyball, golf. And then in the summer times, I had whichever team was in deep trouble. So I ended up in a few places on East Campus with some folks for the semester because I wrote the book they were trying to write about trying to sort of get out of study hall and give excuses and this, that, and the other.
Who would do something like that?
So
who would want to spend 4 hours in a apartment or in a study hall? So Bob White was our guy.
The coaches loved it.
Absolutely, because you know that they're watching them, and they're going to say, "Don't let them," and you're not going to let them fool you.
That, and I was the bad guy. So I was the bad guy that they couldn't complain about.
The one thing about Rogers that we got to talk about, because it's not like this. It's tough sometimes with certain people with these young student athletes. They don't want to tell them no. They don't want to tell them anything other than you're the greatest thing out. Rogers is not that guy. So I got 2 stories for you. My freshman year, I fall asleep in study hall, and I'm like one of the only ones in there. I'm just trying to get my hours done, my homework's done. I fall asleep on the floor in study hall in a corner. I think I'm safe.
You don't fall asleep on the floor.
Well, I did. I was
you
tired.
went to sleep on the floor.
You go squat.
You don't fall asleep on the floor.
No, I made a conscious decision.
You just
the floor
fell.
Looked perfect. Listen, Rogers Alexander walks in that room, kicks me, kicks my legs, and says, "Get up." I try to close my eyes and go back to bed. I'm 18-year-old Aeneas, not quite as mature. And he immediately tells me he's going to go right upstairs and go find Coach Franklin and bring him down if I don't get up. So that's story number 1. Story number 2, Rogers Alexander, no coward in his heart at all. 330-pound PJ Musfer is giving Rogers a hard time about who knows what. Rogers Alexander stands up. He comes out of the desk, confronts him, lets him know he's wrong. And then I am telling the story because when we got back to the apartment, PJ was like, you know what? Rogers is right. And I got to do better. But it's important that you have people like that around who went through it, who tried to write the book of excuses to be able to check these young guys.
Absolutely, man. Who better to do it than the OG right here?
Nobody better.
It's. I mean, as a Letterman, it's our responsibility to pass on both our life lessons and our football lessons and our athletic lessons to those Lettermen and potential Lettermen that are coming up before us, and hopefully give them hints on how to prioritize their time, their effort, and now their money.
Yeah, that's the biggest one you got to worry about. That's my question to you right now. How are you handling these kids?
I've been given a gift because I've worked professionally in middle and upper management for 40 years, but not 40 years straight. So in every decade, I've come back to work part-time in the academic center for 3 to 5 to 2 years, the 3 years, every decade.
It's got 9 degrees.
So what I've been privy to is to see the change in how kids learn, how kids are motivated, the different situations that student athletes were presented when I was a student athlete, when you were a student athlete in the 90s, when student athletes in the 2010s, 2011s, and then just recently, I've spent since 2016 back here with the student athletes. So it's given me a gift. As a consultant, it's a gift because now, I used to give speaking engagements and kids would pay attention. Now I have to involve this the oxygen, I call it.
The oxygen.
Gotta have it.
In order
Can't live
to
without
get,
it.
in order to have kids under 25 pay attention to me.
It's not their fault, though. I mean, we're not,
No.
you or I or Aeneas, we're not dogging the kids. No, absolutely not. It's just
No.
moving on.
But it's one of those things where you learn the ability to communicate, and Aeneas hit it on the head when he talked about our defensive coordinator. His ability to communicate and get things across to the kids, that's extremely important. It goes back to teaching. Teachers are, if they're great teachers, they're great communicators. They adjust their communication depending on who their audience is.
With the same point, though.
With the same point.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
That's fantastic, actually.
Don't make him like Rogers Alexander very often, man. I do want to ask you, on the football side of things, you see Penn State football having a bunch of success. There's a ton of talent in the room. You're obviously a guy that played for Coach Paterno. We're able to experience that. You were there for some of the great Penn State football teams.
He's more on this side, just so you know.
There you go.
He's on this side of
he's
the
on that old
sign.
school,
Yeah, he's on the old school
on
side.
that left side there. When you look at this team now, from a football perspective, what do you see?
I see a change in the urgency. I've seen a gradual change in now us not starting slow in first quarters, both offensively and defensively. So I see those changes. They're positive. But I also see a change in coaching, clock management. People, are quick to criticize coaches when they have these snafus with clock management and punts and this and that. But everyone forgets very quickly our coach who coached 41 years, who ran 3 plays up the middle in a game that I wasn't involved in that was 3 years before that, and lost the national championship. But that coach learned from that, just like great coaches will. They will learn from their prior mistakes. That comes from a Letterman on that team that said, yeah, we're responsible for your first national championship, Raj, because of this happening. And I said, it's funny because everybody expected us to run when we were in 82 with Kurt Warner in the backfield, and it turned into Air Paterno, right? Like
7
people were
passes
like,
a game.
"What's like?" Instead of us, running the ball 40 times a game, we ran the ball 15, and then we threw the ball 25, and people were like, "What's going on? Is Joe okay? Like, is he
right?"
That kind of thing. And then I think to keep it in perspective is to say, what reminds me of 82 to 87 is that there were several classes back to back where guys like DJ Dozier, Blair Thomas were on the scout team. So they, on a Tuesday, were running the ball against our defense. So when you get the competition level in practice that rises because of the totality of the team, then you start to see teams gel and play better and improve as the year goes along.
See, you may be old school and I may be new school, but we can agree on that point. That depth that you're talking about, that competition, that standard being, taken to another notch. We give, and rightfully so, you give a lot of these young guys credit for the success that's happening now, but depth isn't just about having depth for Saturdays. You got to have talented kids who are going to play hard on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Odafe Owe is an example I always give. If you remember Owe, he was a scout team guy for a while. And our tackles, Ryan Bates and Will Fries at the time, got a lot better quick because Odafe Owe was going to play as hard. That was his Super Bowl, was Tuesday and Wednesday.
I had Brandon Short my senior year.
You had Brandon Short your senior year.
I'm like, dude,
please
chill.
No doubt. But it's important to be able to drive that competition during the week because that's really how you get better.
Oh, there's no doubt. And of course, nowadays, thank goodness, because the size and the speed of the young men that are playing now is, just the physics of the game, right? The force, the speed, the collisions, they're 10 times what they were back when I played.
Correct. I'm still convinced it's the equipment. No, I'm being serious. These dudes are so light. The helmets and pads are so paper thin.
You don't even feel them.
You don't feel them.
You don't.
Yeah. So we're only got about 30 seconds left here, Raj. I want to invite you back again.
Yes.
This is fantastic. I'm looking at all the people out here, and they're all just entrenched, man.
Should I give them the teaser?
Go ahead. There you go.
Go ahead.
These guys don't know.
Oh, boy.
But there's a reason why I've been in the academic support center for so long, because I've been working on a surprise for Penn State.
Ooh.
And it will be coming soon.
Ooh. Look at that. Drop the mic.
There
Rogers Alexander, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Rogers. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Rod. Really appreciate it, man.
We'll be back on the Blue White Player Show.
Hey, Penn State fans, it's game time, and Ciocca is hitting the field with 42 dealerships and 25 brands in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. That means more choices and the perfect new or pre-owned vehicle priced to fit your budget. Plus, factory-trained service experts are just minutes away, and you can feel confident you're doing business with a family that treats you like family. We're a proud partner of Penn State Athletics and preferred dealership group of the Penn State Alumni Association. The Ciocca Dealerships. Experience the difference.
Like, I love seeing kids nowadays loving their dad. Like, Dad, what's Dad? Want to go play, Dad? Let's go ride bikes, Dad! Dad! Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, Dad! Run! Open a window! Mom, what did you see in that?
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, live, October 4th, Bryce Jordan Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Bill Burr, live.
Mercy Me is coming to State College. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. October 7th at Bryce Jordan Center. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp. For tickets and more info, visit mercyme.org.
Old Dominion. No Bad Vibes Tour. Friday, December 1st. Bryce Jordan Center. With special guest Chase Rice and Kylie Morgan. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Old Dominion, live in concert. Brought to you by Messina Touring Group.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.